America's Body Shop.
Tonight, breaking news. Will it be a team of rivals? President-elect Donald Trump now set to meet with Mitt Romney after both traded bitter words during the campaign. Is Romney now being considered for Secretary of State? We're at Trump Tower. Also breaking, the deadly snowstorm bracing for the blizzard. 9 states now under a winter alert. And this system moving east. In some places, 80 degrees one day, 20 the next. The 2 explosions, the deadly gas blast in a town center. Investigators on the scene tonight. After another explosion, this home incinerated. And tonight, authorities with a $30 fix. The confrontation on camera, the police officer trying to arrest a woman, then seen punching her in the face. Tonight, police defending their officer. And America Strong, we showed you that 9-year-old boy catching his baby brother. That boy right here tonight.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Thursday night, and let's get right to it. The stream of big names showing up at Trump Tower, many vying for a place in President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet. Even Mr. Trump saying, only I know who the finalists are. And tonight, a face that might surprise some, Mitt Romney, who did not endorse Donald Trump and who had very critical words for him during the campaign, now set to meet with him. And he's not the only one. A rising star also invited Governor Nikki Haley. Are they both up for Secretary of State? We begin with ABC's David Wright.
Tonight, 2 former enemies trying to mend fences. Sources tell ABC News the president-elect is now considering former Governor Mitt Romney for Secretary of State. Romney has in the past been less than diplomatic about Donald Trump.
Think of Donald Trump's personal qualities: the bullying, the greed, the showing off, the misogyny, the absurd third-grade theatrics.
The feeling clearly mutual.
Mitt Romney's made a total fool of himself. Did you ever see a guy like this? He had his shot. He had his shot. He didn't like it when I said he choked like a dog. He choked like a dog.
But Trump aides say he'll meet with Romney this weekend as the transition team races to fill key cabinet posts. Among the other candidates for Secretary of State, the governor of South Carolina, Nikki Haley, who met with Trump today at Trump Tower. They had a good discussion, her chief of staff said, and she's very encouraged about the coming administration and the new direction it will bring. But earlier this year, Haley called out Trump's rhetoric.
During anxious times, it can be tempting to follow the siren call of the angriest voices. We must resist that temptation.
Trump firing back on Twitter. The people of South Carolina are embarrassed by Nikki Haley. She supported Rubio, but eventually came over to Trump. At 44, she's the nation's youngest governor and a rising star, the daughter of Indian immigrants who led the charge to take down the Confederate flag. But it's not clear what, if any, foreign policy experience she has. Former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani is also lobbying hard for the job. Today, he was at Trump Tower, too. But there are reportedly concerns about his overseas business ties and paid speeches. Among the other job applicants in the lobby of Trump Tower today, Lieutenant General Mike Flynn, a contender for National Security Advisor.
Tell us how the transition is going.
Playing a key role in the transition process, Trump's own son-in-law, Jared Kushner. It's against the law for Trump to appoint a family member for a job at the White House, but Kushner is exploring whether he could serve as an unpaid advisor. Today, the campaign spokeswoman, Kellyanne Conway, cited the Bush family as a precedent for that.
He wants him to be an advisor to him, which he will continue to be. He's also his son-in-law, so he's family. And that's really what we should focus on here. I know the Bush sons were very involved in their father's administration. One became president of the United States.
And David Wright with us live tonight at Trump Tower, and with Mitt Romney and Nikki Haley both being floated for Secretary of State now, or perhaps other roles. The president-elect had his first big meeting with a foreign leader today.
He did, David, a sit-down with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, a potentially tricky meeting because of some of the policy proposals Trump threw out on the campaign trail, including things that would change U.S.-Japanese relations that have been in place since World War II. David?
David Wright leading us off tonight. David, thank you. The Vice President-elect Mike Pence in Washington, meeting with Republicans, but with Democrats too. And tonight, could there be signs of common ground, the issues they might agree on? And Hillary Clinton admitting in defeat she has wanted to curl up and not leave the House. instead keeping her commitment to attend an event for children. And what she revealed about her late mother. Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
A triumphant Mike Pence back on Capitol Hill today, marking the moment with a selfie. The former congressman, now VP-elect, telling House Republicans to buckle up for a breakneck pace. Tonight, Democrats are also trying to find common ground with the new administration.
And if Mr. Trump has the guts to stand up to those corporations, he will have an ally with me.
We can work together on infrastructure, issues that relate to child care and the rest.
Overnight, Hillary Clinton made her first public appearance since her concession speech in a raw, candid moment describing her late mother's influence.
I draw hope and sustenance from another person who influenced my life and still does every day, my mother. I've talked about her difficult childhood. She was abandoned by her parents.
Clinton picturing her mother when she was just 8 years old, being put on a train with her little sister, alone and afraid.
And I dream of going up to her and sitting next to her and taking her in my arms and saying, look at me and listen. You will survive. You will have a family of your own, 3 children. And as hard as it might be to imagine, your daughter will grow up to be a United States Senator, represent our country as Secretary of State, and win more than 62 million votes for President of the United States.
And Mary Bruce with us live from Washington tonight. Senator Bernie Sanders, who supported Hillary Clinton, making the rounds now in Washington and responding to criticism that he might have hurt Clinton's chances by not bringing his supporters around sooner.
David, Sanders denies that, saying that many of his supporters actually supported Hillary Clinton and suggesting that maybe he could have defeated Trump. But today he did note that Hillary Clinton, with her victory in the popular vote, will play an important role in the future of the Democratic Party. David.
Mary Bruce with us live tonight. Mary, thank you. And tonight, a departure in Washington. The Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, appearing before a House committee announcing he's stepping down. Clapper also making headlines with what he said about Russia, saying that only Russia's senior-most officials could have authorized the hacking of election-related emails. Clapper submitted his resignation to President Obama. He will stay on until the end of the administration. This had been expected in Washington even before the election. We do move on now to the other news this Thursday night. That first major blizzard set to hit and the snowstorm already turning deadly. A difficult commute on the roads in Wyoming. 9 states, in fact, from Utah to Minnesota in the storm's path as the system moves east. At least 1 person killed in this pileup on Interstate 70 near Denver. And it was near Denver, temperatures dropped from 80 degrees one day to the 20s and 30s the next. ABC's Clayton Sandell from Colorado.
Tonight, this winter storm is moving fast, but drivers are not. In Wyoming, cars spinning, sliding, and stalling in dangerously heavy snow that's bringing branches down on power lines. In the mountains west of Denver, state troopers are investigating deadly crashes on snowy roads. 1 major pileup of cars and trucks clogging the interstate. Chains are now mandatory.
And it's pretty slippery. It's pretty dangerous out here.
The storm is now shoving aside an unusually warm fall. It was golfing weather yesterday in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yesterday, Denver was record hot, 80 degrees, but today it's only 34 degrees, a 46-degree drop in just 24 hours.
In Denver, the snow is arriving about a month later than normal.
And David, we're standing in the middle of Interstate 70, just west of Denver here. We understand there's a 20-car pileup just ahead, but right now this major interstate is completely shut down. David?
Wow, the pictures bring it back and quickly. Clayton, our thanks to you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z live along the West Side Highway tonight, who's tracking the system. Ginger?
David, chilly and breezy here, but this is downright tropical to what's happening compared to what's happening in the Rockies and Northern Plains. Let's look at those maps. Winter storm warnings and advisories. That blizzard warning in parts of Minnesota, South Dakota, and North Dakota. That means not just snow in the order of 6+ inches, even up to a foot in parts of Minnesota, but wind. 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts will come along with this. They are asking in that blizzard warning that you do not travel, and the real crunch time is the next 24 hours. So let's pay attention then to how cold it gets behind. You mentioned so many of those temperature drops. Dodge City was 87 yesterday. 20 is what it'll feel like by tomorrow morning, David.
Incredible swing. Ginger Z, our thanks to you tonight. We move on now to those deadly explosions, one ripping through a downtown business district while utility workers were repairing a natural gas leak. The other shattering a home, killing one person inside. The cause still under investigation. And tonight, with cold air moving in and many turning on the heat, officials are reminding us of a simple $30 fix. ABC's Wjla Benitez is in Illinois tonight.
Surveillance cameras capturing the moment of the blast, blowing this store's front door open, shattering glass and sending debris flying.
There used to be a building right there, guys.
Firefighters race to the scene while rescuers search overnight for survivors. Tonight, authorities, including the NTSB, investigating the cause of that gas explosion.
So you were having dinner.
Yes.
And you hear what? This
the
massive
loudest
blast.
kaboom I ever heard in my life. Almost thought like lightning had hit.
It happened Wednesday night as utility crews worked to repair a natural gas leak, apparently caused by digging. One worker was killed, 12 others injured. The power company, Ameren, Illinois, saying the gas was turned off at the time of the blast. This, the second deadly explosion in just the last 24 hours. A similar one splintering a home in Spencer, Indiana yesterday. The government now working to prevent future blasts. Starting in January, it'll require a $30 safety valve on new and replaced gas lines that will shut off gas automatically when a line is ruptured.
And David, we now know the utility worker who was killed was a 38-year-old man. Two of his colleagues are still in the hospital right now. This, as people here try to pick up the pieces, at least whatever's left. David.
Wjla Benitez with us tonight. Gio, thanks. Next here, the alarming confrontation in Flagstaff, Arizona. A police officer scuffling with a woman. He's then seen punching her in the face as another officer holds her back. Authorities now say the woman was attempting to get away, but tonight the incident is under investigation. And here's ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas.
Yet another controversial police encounter caught on tape.
You cannot arrest me.
An officer punching a female suspect in the face during an eviction. Slow it down and you can see the force of the punch.
I was punched in the face 2 times. I was choked. It was just a brutal attack.
But the officer claims the woman resisted arrest, kicking and kneeing him in the groin. Flagstaff, Arizona police learned of the encounter after the video was posted on Facebook. Authorities say the officer has no history of excessive force.
We immediately became concerned, so we initiated an internal investigation and placed the officer administrative leave.
The case, the latest indicator of how the prevalence of surveillance cameras and smartphones are placing officers under increasing scrutiny.
Please let go of him.
In fact, it's become reflex for citizens to pull out their phones and record interactions with police, like we saw here in Alabama last November when college students reached for their cameras and later recorded police beating them. Back in Arizona, the police chief says there is officer body camera video and that in the interest of transparency, he'll post that video online. David, it's a new social media world for police.
Pierre Thomas with us again tonight. Pierre, thank you. Next to the mysterious disappearance of a congressman's son, Carl Conyers is a student at the University of Houston. His father, John Conyers from Michigan, is the longest-serving member of Congress. Carl was last seen on Tuesday when friends checked his room. The next day, they found clothes and other items missing. The FBI and Secret Service are assisting now in the investigation. A major report from the Surgeon General tonight, the first ever to address drug and alcohol addiction, reporting that 20 million Americans have a substance use disorder and that 78 Americans die every day from an opioid or heroin overdose. That's 1 every 19 minutes. The Surgeon General stressing that addiction is a chronic brain disease and not a character flaw. We turn now to the holiday rush about to begin, record Thanksgiving travel, and tonight here, 3 things travelers might consider to keep track of your luggage and to save you money. Here's ABC's David Curley.
Tonight, after the springtime debacle of long lines, TSA says there won't be a repeat, even though an estimated record 22 million Americans will go through a checkpoint starting tomorrow through Thanksgiving. The agency hiring 1,400 new officers, converting 2,000 others to full-time, more canine teams, and out of this command center, close contact with airports and airlines.
You're ready now?
We are. We changed the way we operate. So we're running a daily operations center now that focuses specifically on screening operations hour by hour at the top 30 airports.
Since those long lines, a more than 50% increase in sign-ups for the $85 pre-check program, now with 4 million flyers. Airlines are trying to move passengers faster, too. That new bag tag from Delta with the computer chip, which allows flyers to track their bags. And United asking, what would you give up for the lowest fare? No suitcase, only a personal item that fits under the seat? It's called basic economy. Even with those changes, the TSA does plan to surge the number of officers during the next week and a half of Thanksgiving travel. David?
All right, good luck to everyone traveling, and to you too, David. Thank you. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Thursday. New developments in the mystery murder of a female jogger. Police with a possible new lead tonight. They're asking for your help now. Also, the frightening road rage attack lasting almost 30 minutes. The terrified driver's call. You'll find out what happened to her on that road. The close call on the tracks, the train slamming into this car, 2 people escaping incredibly, and what we've now learned about that driver just moments before the crash. And America Strong, we showed you this last night. Millions of you then watched it on our Facebook page. That 9-year-old catching his baby brother in the nick of time.